Director of Dramatic Writing.
Hi.
I'm here to introduce, it is my pleasure to introduce our Dramatic Writing Alumni Mentor for this year, Erica E. Wade. Yes. A little intro first. Since graduating with an MFA in Dramatic Writing in 2016, which is only 2 years ago, she's done so much since then, Erica was selected as part of LA's 2016 Funny Women Festival in Los Angeles. And her solo performance, The Rhythm and the Blues, played to rave reviews in 2017 at the 13th Street Repertory Theater in New York City. She is a company member and literary director of the Gnome House Independent Theater Company. Some of you remember Topher, who was here. She collaborates with Topher and Josh. And the Gnome House Independent Theater Company in spring 2018 produced her full-length play, The Mad Scientist Play. She's also a contributing writer for Blavity and Scholar Status. A native of Birmingham, Alabama, Erica has always been fascinated with history. She officially began her writing career in 2006 when she applied for entrance into the Alabama School for Fine Arts to study creative writing as an 8th grader. After being accepted, she created the school's first Black History program, became the reigning champ of a city-wide spoken word contest, and was a contributing writer for the Metropolitan newspaper. Her first book of poetry, Eyes to the World, was published when she was only 19. At SCAD, she was a 2016 Kennedy Center MFA Playwrights Workshop finalist, which chose only 22 finalists out of a nationwide pool. Erica, who professionally goes by the name E.E. Wade, currently lives in LA, working between there and New York City as a literary manager and company member of the Gnome House Independent Theater Company. A result of her residency at Gnome House, the Mad Scientist Play tells the story of Ron, a Black professor and theoretical physicist who is on a race against the clock to finish his greatest invention, the first humanoid time machine the world has ever seen. One reviewer of that play wrote, "Inspired by real-life historical figures, the Mad Scientist Play smoothly balances its fantastical elements with some very authentic human insights. This is thanks to E.E. Wade's thoughtful script and Josh F.S. Moser's fluid direction. What is real and what is fantasy almost becomes..."
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. First off, I would like for everybody to do me a solid. Let's shake out all the tension that we have right now. Just get it out. Because I am just gonna have a conversation with you guys. This is not something that you feel intimidated by. Ask the questions you wanna ask. Make use of me being here as a resource because they paid for it. So, so just make sure that you get everything that you need from this opportunity. Sweet angel. I may as well just have a seat now. I love dogs. Utilize me as a resource. I really want to help. I'm not one of those alums that's just here to say that for lip service. I truly think that we can all eat, and if I can help you get a seat at the table, then I'll do my best to do that. So, before we get into this, I will tell you why I chose the first 100 days. From my intro, Avery mentioned I love history, and so when I sat down and I thought about what do I even have to talk to you guys about, I remembered some things. That, for one, when I was a SCAD student, I came to every single one of the alumni lectures that they had, and I thought, look at these really successful people, and they know exactly what it feels like to be where I am right now. So their plan is to give me a complete layout of everything to do when I graduate. But unfortunately, nobody did. Not a single soul. Because everyone is focused on the big picture. We're all focused on how we work at this lovely studio or this major accolade and what it feels like to have it. Because nobody wants to expose themselves and say that they had to clean toilets as soon as they left from an MFA program. Well, I did. And I want you guys to know that there is reality. But as long as you keep in your mind what your goal is, you can accomplish it. Nobody told me that your first 6 to 9 months in LA would be the hardest. But if you can make it past those 6 to 9 months, you can usually find solid ground. Nobody mentioned anything about those small little hiccups that maybe they should have paid more attention in school and learned from. It's always about those big triumphs. So I'm here to do two things. The first is to dispel any kind of image of glamour about what I do or who I am, because whatever gleam you think you see in me, that is grit. And you guys have grit too. The second thing is to tell you that your first couple months after graduation can make or break your career. They can only break it if you don't use them and use the passion and the fire that you're going to walk across the stage with. So, I wanted to know how to best make a metaphor, because we're writers. I can never just say things straight out together. She's not creative, no. Of how we assess greatness and hallmarks of success. Well, as a history lover, I thought about a president's first 100 days. If you guys know anything about history, you might have heard of a guy named FDR. Well, faced with an incredible difficulty in front of him, he came up with a plan to publish his first 100 days, a plan that the people could hold him accountable for. Well, did he accomplish everything? Not quite the way he said he would. But having a plan before you jump into what might seem like an endless ocean can really help. So, I wanted to know how many months 100 days would be, and I'm a writer, so I asked someone to do the math. 3 months. Technically 3.28767 months, but you get it. And instead of thinking of these 3 months as a death sentence, I said to myself, you can do a lot in 3 months. As a matter of fact, we do a lot in 3 months here. Most of you have written and revised a script twice at least in less time than that. I learned how to AD a film set in less time than that. So instead of looking at post-grad life as a question mark, I changed my mindset and I said, what can you do in 100 days? So here are some of the most memorable revelations I had during my first 100 days, and no, I will not go through each day. You don't have to worry about that. Day 1, rest. You won't get more of it. Congratulate yourselves on graduating. I want to ask the question, and this is an interactive, except, if I'm making like a good point, don't, girl, I know, and I feel the same thing, because this ain't your lecture. How many of us don't congratulate ourselves when we make a new accomplishment? Look around the room. That's all of us. You have more allies than you think you do. One of my great buddies, and who was a former dramatic writing alumni mentor, Topher Kusmano, sent me an article once when I really, really needed it. It was by organizational psychologist Adam Grant, who suggested the reason why we can't succeed today is because we don't even know what our prior success looks like. Take a moment right now with me, because I'm going to do it, and think back 5 years ago. That's harder for me, I think. Are you surpassing everything that you believed that you would do 5 years ago? The answer is yes. I know it is. Stop and congratulate yourself for where you are right now. Everybody that raised their hand has probably felt like I'm not good enough and been in that kind of rut. But I'm here to tell you that all we have to do is change our mindsets. Grant suggests that if we just slow down, we usually can see that we've overcome those obstacles that we're so afraid of. The reason why we have this defeatist mentality is because we think that celebration means that you're arrogant, that you have a big ego. I'm not saying to run a banner or to go over there to the Civic Center and ask them to put your name up, but it's okay to say, I did good. This is huge. When I got that finalist award for the Kennedy Center, I didn't think it was anything huge. I thought, well, you didn't win, so you're not good enough. And I carried that mentality, and it impacted my first 100 days. So day 1, while you're resting, say, you did good. You graduated SCAD. As someone who's graduated SCAD, this is not easy. Your teachers are excellent. Your teachers are masters in their field. Every day day that you put a script up on this board, or the screen rather. We ain't had no screen when I was here. But every day that you put a script up on the screen and you get read for film, consider this a blessing and an opportunity. These people care so much about you that they'll give you a note. They care so much about you that they will read through every typo in your script. They care so much about you that they think about these scripts even after the class is over. They'll come up to you at weird moments when you're probably just like, oh, I got through that, and have another note. That's rare. Congratulations for being that good already. Don't become complacent. Don't get it twisted. Take this hunger that you have right now as a key ingredient for your success. I've told a lot of you guys in the classroom visits, you are my competition in the fact that you're hungrier than I am right now. You're dreaming about Los Angeles. You're dreaming about New York, Chicago, Atlanta, wherever you want to go. You're dreaming about what that success looks like. Keep that fire. It'll give you a competitive edge. When you go out into the world, if it seems like you're not taking for granted any opportunity that you get, you'll get more. And that's just kind of how karma works. So, day 5. The controversial, oh, I thought I had a slide, so here you go. Here you go. Day 5, the controversial make that move. A lot of you guys are considering moving to one of those cities that I mentioned. A lot of you guys are asking me, do I have to? I'm poor, I don't think I can do it right now. And my answer to you is that I'm not going to tell you that you can successfully break in as quickly as you want to in your mind unless you have some kind of connection. Proximity is king. I am not saying to make a blind move to LA because you cannot live with me. I don't know most of you, but I love you already. I really do, I truly do. You can call, well, don't call any kind of crazy hour because I gotta work. I have a dog and he's from France, so he's really, really bougie and demanding. But you could call me and say, hey, Erica, or email me. I'm in LA, you know, I'd like to set up a meeting just to just talk and say, hey, I'm here, and I'm totally fine with that. But you have to have a plan before you make this move. You cannot blindly walk into an ocean that you've never stepped foot in before. A plan can look something as simple as setting up an internship, if you can. Save a credit if they'll let you do it, because I had to fight to do it, so I don't know what the program structured like. Make a connection. Have somewhere to stay. Have a job lined up, and that job does not have to be glamorous. My first job outside of SCAD was a host because I didn't have the serving experience, which is in LA about 6 years. And I'm not, that's not a joke. I know I'm telling jokes, but that one is serious. And I had to clean toilets in a burger, bacon, and beer joint. Did I let that defeat me? No. I told myself, you've got about 4 or 5 months to do this. And after that, you will quit. Even if you don't have another plan, because that'll kick your butt and put some steam into your motion. And I did. I moved on from that job and hustled while I was there, making these moves, making these connections, doing the work, so when I asked people to look at me, I had something to show. Do not jump into this ocean without a plan, but do not be afraid to be uncomfortable. You might have to test yourself. You might have to move to the city that never sleeps. If you do so with optimism, and know you're not alone. SCAD's alumni network is amazing. I went to 2 really great schools, the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, and SCAD. Go Bees. And because I wasn't afraid to reach out to people after I'd done the work myself to prove I had something to show you once you responded. And that got me so far. I know some of you might be thinking, well, I'm not good enough. Why would I reach out? These mentors won't communicate back with me. Well, they've been where you were. I was actually terrified to reach out to Topher. I had class with Topher, and we bonded. I mean, hit it off strongly. But he was also a finalist in the Nichols Fellowship, and I thought, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to get his attention. So I wasted time doing that. When I reached out to Topher, he said, girl, I've been waiting. Not only is Topher a working buddy, a colleague, but he is one of my best friends. You lose every shot you don't take. And now we're in the age of shooting that shot. So make sure that you're utilizing us, your direct resources, because we do care. We have been where you are, and we know what it feels like to be unsure of yourself. The second networking opportunity that I took, an alum that I reached out to, happened to be the reason why I got into a room pitching to a VP at MGM. If I did not take that shot, if I did not approach her, I probably wouldn't be in front of y'all today. We have a long list of criteria before you get to come back and speak to people. So, speaking of networking, accept all challenges, AKA network. Now, I know networking is scary. I know it's something that you might not want to do because you might be shy. Well, believe it or not, and nobody believes it. I mean, literally not a single person believes this. I am painfully shy. I mean, really shy. So much so that I have to take eye contact breaks, which is why I haven't looked directly at most of you for this. So the good news is, I'm also really, really good at getting over that and pushing myself into uncomfortable situations that challenge me. So this came in handy when I moved to LA, a city where every time you step outside your apartment, you're at a networking event. I mean, true, in the bus, at the program, well, it's Ralph's there. Especially at Trader Joe's. Never go to Trader Joe's looking a hot mess, honey, because you don't know. Yeah. Right before I came here, I just went to the mall. I think I needed some lipstick, and there's a film set right in the parking lot. If I had come out looking like Who Shot Did It What, you never know. I might have met someone who would give me a job later. But there is a stereotype about writers that we are messy and hard to work with because we're unorganized. Prove people wrong. I think writers are some of the most organized people there are. How can we write complete worlds and create complete characters if we cannot figure things out? So figure this out. You cannot run away from a networking opportunity. Take them, but take them in the way that you know that people might be cringing at the thing that you're willing to do. Speaking of cold emails, why not just send a chill email? I made this up. I thought hard about this lecture, y'all. I ain't gonna up here ready to just go off the top of my head. So, a chill email is reaching out to someone that you might either be 1 degree of separation away from, or even 2. Why I say it's chill is because you know them. You know of them. Topher and I only had 1 class together, but we kept in contact. He only likes to use Facebook Messenger for real, so I had to download that app first. And then I had a way to communicate with him. If you're reaching out to people that you're already comfortable with, know this. That doesn't mean that you're stepping down or reducing your opportunities from reaching up. Network across. If you network across, you can build with people. We built a company together. Topher trusted me enough to invest in me, because flights from LA to New York ain't cheap, especially multiple times for the same production. He invested in me because I reached out to someone I was already comfortable with. This is great practice, so when you meet that VP, you're used to talking to people. You're used to pitching yourself. You're used to talking about your projects because you've already been sharing them with your peers. We're so focused on networking up that we sometimes forget that the phase of the journey you're in right now is so important. So, day 20, stabilize your environment. Now notice I didn't just say living environment. I mean this spiritually, physically, and mentally, financially, and, well, geographically. Make sure that you are okay before you take on this task of getting an EGOT. And I say that because that is my task. I'll tell you how you can get a Grammy later if you don't want to write songs. Because I thought this out. I'm serious. So at this point in my journey, I was less focused on my creative advancement and more focused on where you're going to live, girl. You need to make sure that you're stable and you're okay if you're trying to create. I'm going to say this 3 times. 3 times is a charm. You cannot create if you're not stable. You cannot create if you're not stable. You can't create if you ain't stable. You have to change it. So, real talk. When I moved, I sublet half of a room in an apartment. The Bay Area student who was working in Calabasas for the summer. I gave myself a deadline there too. I said 3 months. You don't like people like this. She oversleeps at alarm. You're gonna kill us. So 3 months. And she's gonna kill us. Every day of those 3 months, I took the number 20 bus from Westwood to Beverly Hills to that internship. And every day coming back on the number 20 bus, I watched people for dialogue reasons, which I'll talk about later. And I also applied for jobs and housing like it was my job. Because when you don't have a job, it is. Make sure that you have a stable working environment or else you won't be able to do what it is that you came there for anyway. At the end of the day, I asked myself, if what I'm doing in LA is not writing based, can you not do this in Alabama? Where you've got family, where it's cheaper? If you find yourself getting into a rut where you're not creating, ask yourself that. Did I move here for nothing? If your answer is yes, 2 things. Kick your butt into gear or go home. As simple as that. Day, press it first before. Yeah. Day 29. Do a stand-up show. Seriously. So adulting is tough, especially for creatives, and for the reason I just mentioned a few minutes ago. If you're not stable, you can't create, and sometimes that can mean that your survival job takes over. For me, stand-up was always something that I loved to do, but it was a challenge every time I did it. Find whatever it is creatively, hopefully it's centered around writing, that you can do to challenge yourself to remind you, why am I a writer in the first place? Raise your hands if at any point in your journey here at SCAD, you have forgotten why you fell in love with writing. Look around. Look around. Right. That is all of us. You're not alone again. Even though we feel like writing is such an isolated experience, it is not. Make sure you're out in the world doing writing in a way that excites you and frightens you. Kind of challenges you too. If you ever come to a point where it feels more like a job and not like a love, you're in the wrong business. We want longevity. We don't want to be a one-hit wonder, even though those are really usually good. I'm thinking of Milli Vanilli right now. Chris Cough, all those people. But we want to have long careers, and the only way you can have a long career is if you love it. You won't love it every day. Promise. You'll be in production and will hate some of it. That's okay. Find a way to remind yourself this is the thing that I love. Stand-up was that for me. It was hard, I loved it at the same time, and it always did not feel like it was a commodity, like sometimes my freelance and script writing had become. So, how do you commodify your writing? Find a way to make it your day job. Like Avery mentioned, I write for sites all the time. And here, I'm gonna tell you this. You are dramatic writers. In my opinion, because I've written literally every form of writing except grant writing, but my mom is dead pressed against. No, sorry. You are masters of storytelling. Any other form of writing is telling a story. Journalism, telling a story. Poetry, telling a story. Blogs, telling a story. Why is it that you're not making money doing this? Why is it that you who studies television like it's nobody's business is not covering entertainment for someone? Why is it that you're not writing film reviews? They pay. Make sure you're doing something writing related in your day job too, because then you'll get into the business of writing on a routine basis, and you'll be able to produce content regularly, which is what you should be doing. I mentioned stand-up earlier. Stand-up turned into more than just fun for me. Videos of me performing made it to the internet, and Topher saw that. Now, even though Toph and I are really good friends, he is also brilliant and great at business, like I would assume I would be too in that position. You can't give all your friends jobs. You gotta make sure that they're doing the work just like you are. Although he loved me, he did not approach me about doing the rhythm of the blues initially. He'd never seen it. He heard about it. But then when he saw a clip on YouTube, he said, hey, you wanna do this in New York? I was like, yeah, you know, I gotta check my schedule as I'm cleaning the toilet. So I would give you a list of careers that I've had working in LA and how they've changed. So you know about the burger and bacon joint. I demoed coffee machines at Williams-Sonoma, and I was really good at that. I wrote viral content for social media sites. I taught creative writing to high schoolers. I became a commissioned playwright twice, and I'm on the literary staff of one of the fastest growing independent companies in New York. Do you see a theme there? I started making writing my day job, and I wrote more. And I had things to show people. If folks asked me for a script, I said, ooh, what's your flavor? What you feeling like reading today? You gotta have that same fire, and you gotta have that same portfolio. If you trick yourself into having writing for a day job, those articles, those things that you're producing, people will hire you from that too. Folks have read my clapbacks on Blavity and said, hey girl, you write content. You do scripts. How can I get at you? That could be y'all too. It also increases your searchability. The more content I post, as I'm sure all of you have done, and if you have not, shame on you, the more I appear on Google. When people type in my name, I think the first 3 pages of Erica E. Wade or E. Wade is all me. Put that content out there, even if it's not the play, even if it's not TV, even if it's not a screenplay, it's still writing, and your voice will come through, and your ability to tell a story will as well. So, day 50. You halfway there. What have you done for someone lately? I know a lot of networking, we focus on what other people can do for me, but that won't get you far. What have you done to reach back? And you might say, oh, I'm nothing. I don't have anything to give someone. Lie. Have you not been able to, again, write and revise the script in 10 weeks? Have you not been on someone's film set? Have you not been on someone's in someone's theater company or in the production? Do you not know how to give critique? How to give a note? How to punch up a joke? Giving back to people can be as simple as reading a friend's script, even if you know they're bad. Just read it, you know? Give them a note. It's okay. It'll prepare you for it later, because not everything you read is going to be great. You've got to be able to give notes in a humble and a respectful way, even though you're reading people for filth. I told a few of you guys that one of the most beautiful insults I've ever received was after I wrote a clapback on Blavity, and someone told me, this is just a takedown. You're just eloquently savage, which is now my log line. I'm Erica E. Wade, a comedic writer from Alabama, and I am eloquently savage. One of y'all wants to hire me already. We're so worried about breaking in that we forget giving back can teach you just as much as getting. You don't want to be known as an aggressive person who always wants a favor but doesn't know how to think about someone else. LA is full of jerks. We ain't got no vacancies. Don't be one if you're moving there. New York is too, but they kind of like it more, so, I mean, maybe like be kind of a jerk. but a jerk with a good heart gold. I always have a heart gold. I tell people that my approach to networking and my approach to talking to people is always that I am from Alabama. I'm a Southern Belle. I have a very sweet disposition, but an attitude of a pit bull. Don't cross me. You see how cute I make that? You really want to make sure that you're not burning bridges, but that you are helping people and getting that reputation around the industry as being someone I want in the room, because you'll always, always, always be helpful. You can read someone, but do it in a nice way. I'm not saying sugar down your notes, because if you've had a note from me since I've been here, you know I have not sugared it down. Y'all know me. But you can do this and keep a constant pull-up motion, because what if Topher had not pulled me up? He made money off those shows. That was an advancement for Gnome House. What if I don't pull one of you? And I'm not saying everybody hit me up and you ain't got no plans, all that, but still, I'm telling you to always remember, no matter where you are in your journey, even right now, talk to undergrads, if you're a grad student. I didn't do that, and I deeply, deeply regret it. Talk to people that are first-year grads when they're freaking out because they don't know if they'll be able to continue into thesis. If you've completed your thesis, pat somebody on the back and say, you can do it. Just make a plan, make a writing schedule, and you'll be A-okay. I promise you, if you take this mentality into the real world, you will be better off. And stay 6 feet. Don't wait for Nick or Sundance. Seriously. If you get into one of these fellowships, great. Great. But even if you're a late night fellow, you still have to do some legwork on your own. I know so many writers that polish and polish and polish, and when I ask, what are you working on now? Nothing, I don't have the time. Yeah, you do. You're just not spending it wisely. We always want to have new content. If ever I talk to a writer and you can't answer the question, what are you working on now? I don't take you seriously. I have things I'm working on now that I don't even know I'm working on. I just came up with a pilot idea maybe like 15 minutes ago. You know, it might be trashy, whatever, but still, you know, being around you guys inspires me. So you need to make sure you're always, always, always thinking and flexing that muscle. The brain is a powerful muscle. And just like the muscles in our arms, our legs, all of these things, if you work them out, they hurt, but they grow. If you don't, they hurt and they don't grow. Which one would you prefer? Challenge yourself. Always, always produce your own content. Right now in Los Angeles and even New York, content production and content creators are king. There are people who are making the big money because they write their own YouTube scripts. Haven't set foot in an MFA, a BFA, or any FA program. And they're taking your jobs. They're taking your money. Now, even though I did say that we can all eat, we definitely want to compete with them and make them see that we did the work, we stayed, we pursued a passion, we got this degree, we walked out into the world, and we have a plan. But all your degrees, if you listen to Kanye West when he was good, all your degrees will never feed you. I have 3 of them. I don't even know where they are. I think my mama got them somewhere because they're not helping me right now. You know? Be out in these streets, working hard, pursuing things. If you get a writing fellowship, great. And I know those people come down here and they give you their business cards and they say, reach out to me. And when you do, if you can't say that you've been doing the work on your own, you get a cold response, which is nothing. So, finally, could you sell a script today? We want meetings. We want agents. We want opportunities. But could you honestly tell me that the scripts you have already written today are sellable? Could you tell me you could sell more than one? Usually, again, you know, the one-hit wonders, they're really good, y'all, but nobody wants that in the writing world today. Work on your stuff. Polish and create. In those 100 days, you should be writing. Don't wait for these opportunities. Go out and snatch them like a wig. I was waiting to use that one. Been jumping the gun to get there. So, when I say to yourself script today, if you can, great. Push yourself. What you have now should not be the best material when you graduate. The Rhythm the Blues is a passion project of mine. It's a script that has opened the most doors for me since graduation, but it is my weakest script today. If you can't say that in 2 years after graduation, shame on you. Again, you wasted this education, these resources to learn all of these things and graduate and not write. And this is a lot of writer stories. Don't be those writers. Unfortunately, I can look back to some of the people I went to school with and say they're not writers anymore. It saddens me, but I ain't saying it about myself. So, we're near the end. What do we do on day 100? Never think it's not possible for you. This show poster is here because this is the first time I got a chance to see my name in lights. It was an opportunity that I'm gonna take my own advice. I don't really stop to congratulate myself enough for this. This was hard. New York is not as friendly as Savannah. There are a million shows that people can go to in New York City, and the fact that I only had a 4-day run and sold out each day is something to congratulate myself for. But that didn't come because I was lucky. That came because of the grit that I had. Because I said it was going to happen. How did you get your play produced in New York, Erica? Because I said so. How did you get your Emmy, future Erica? Because I said I was going to get it when I was 21. How did you get your second Emmy? Well, you already know the answer. The things that have happened to me in life have happened because I work hard and I will it so. You might think I'm insane, but I walk around like I have an EGOT already. And it opens doors. People believe in me because I believe in myself. Does that mean I think that I'm flawless? Hell no. It doesn't. It means that I challenge myself, and if I don't think that I'm getting better, I find ways that I can. I'm always growing, and I love learning about writing every day, even after graduation. I just love to find something new about writing. I love to read a new book that's coming out, watch a new script, learn how to format this differently. If I thought this was the way to do it, try it somewhere else. You know, really just push yourself to do things differently. You'll be better for it. It's possible. Whatever dream you have, whatever impossible goal that you set for yourself, if you tell yourself on a daily basis, I'm gonna get that in me. I'm gonna get that Grammy, that Oscar, and that Tony. And then I'm gonna do it again. I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to be respected. I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow, I'm going to help people, I'm going to change the culture. I'm going to be a positive representation for my culture. I ain't gonna be Tyler Perry. I'm going to be out here working hard. Then you will. And you wanna know why? Because you believe it. If you believe it, it'll happen. Did you believe that you'd get into SCAD? You must have, because it happened. If you're in your thesis, did you believe that you even passed your 45-hour review? You must have, because it happened. Do you believe that once you walk away from graduation, you can make it where you want to go? You should, and then it will happen. So, if you can spend 100 days in self-doubt, if you can spend 100 days BSing, if you can spend 100 days bemoaning your situation, why not spend it this way? My 100 days was shaky. Not always good. But I didn't give up. I kept going, I kept working it, and I kept my passion, my fire. If I can do this in 100 days, what can you? If you can do this in 100 days, honey, I want to see what you can do in years.